Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Garage Gym Experiment podcast. My name is Adam. Below me on the screen is Jake. And below that, we have Rob from Vintage Weights. I'm going to say Pittsburgh, but you know him as PGH. Nice. On tonight's episode of the podcast, we have a Home Gym Con Grip Strength Championships news to report to you. So that's why you have Rob on. He's going to go over that. We're going to talk. And then Jake and I are going to go over some new releases. The Relentless Trainer, the rack attached pulleys from Rogue. We have a dumbbell survey for you, and then keeping it in the realm of dumbbells, Jake and I are adding our hypothetical dumbbells to our mythical gyms that we've been building. All right, take it away.
Mythical. Well, grip strength, listen, if you're into grip strength and you're coming to Home Gym Con, you can't miss this. But if you're not into grip strength, if you have no idea what grip strength is, you never did it, well, you can't afford to miss this either. Because it is going to be so much fun. And that's the thing that attracted me to grip strength training in the first place, was that it's just fun. Like, it's a good time trying to lift all these odd objects and things. It's like, I don't know. It's just such a complimentary thing to anything you're already doing in your gym. And then it kind of takes over some people's training. And that's what's sort of done to mine. But that's the relationship here, viewers and listeners, is that if you're coming to Home Gym Con, just stop on by. Try it out. I'm going to have all the following implements that I'll show you on the next screen out that are going to be used in the events that you can just try. And then after the competition, I'll have them out as well. And you can, even if you don't compete, you can watch the competition, because I'll describe in just a second too why it's going to be fun to watch. So the Grip Strength Championships.
Yeah. And Rob, before we go on to the implements, I just want to give you a quick kudos because, last week on the podcast, we announced that the arm lifting championships were no longer, and there's just a little bit of the background was, there just wasn't enough interest to drive the leader of arm lifting from California. And basically, I was talking to Rob, and he was like, oh, well, I could do something with grip strength. So I was like, oh, I'm all ears. And within a few days, we basically decided that we were going to be able to do this. And we're already off to a great start. All of this has been put together, what Rob's going to discuss within the last week. So, yeah, before we go into that, I just wanted to give you a huge kudos. We really appreciate you. And I think that this is the start of something that we can do year after year after year after year, and could be really cool. Something really cool for this specific community.
I mean, I think I was sad to see Arm Lifting USA go. I've competed in Arm Lifting USA Super Series last year, and I've also competed in GSI competitions. And I'm not by any means a veteran grip strength athlete. If anything, I'm just starting out. But there are two organizations, and with the departure of the one, it made sense to talk about the other. So Jed Diesel Johnson has been on Home Gym History, and he runs GSI, Grip Sport International. So I reached out to him and said, hey, man, I'd like to do a GSI sanctioned competition. And since we're giving out thank yous here, I feel like I'm on the Oscars. I just want to throw in a thank you to Jed Johnson, because he has been mentoring me through this. I wouldn't have been able to put this together if it wasn't for him. So big shout out to Jed Johnson. So here are the events. And viewers, listeners, if you don't know what these implements are, I'm going to have a not lengthy, but a more in-depth video on my YouTube channel soon, explaining them and explaining the process of how the competition will go, and just showing some do-it-yourself options, if you will, because another good friend of mine, Zach Mullins, did a similar thing for a competition, and it kind of made sense to me to do it for this. So the first event's going to be the 2 3/8 inch Napalm's Nightmare. So Napalm Nightmare was developed by Jed Johnson. It's made by Arm Assassin Strength Shop, who will be at Home Gym Con. Their booth is actually right next to where the grip competition is located, so you can try some of these out. It basically is a very thick handle on two sides, and then that's attached to a loading pin that'll get loaded up, and you have 4 attempts. It's a rising bar format, and you're pulling it to a 6-inch lift to a crossbar. check out my video on YouTube and I'll demonstrate that for you. But essentially, as you lift it, it's almost like doing a high pull or doing a high, like deadlift off blocks. Think of it that way. Second one is going to be a fun one to watch. So the first one is kind of brute strength, if you will, for grip strength. Second event is going to be versatility. It's a medley. So this is a cool thing that GSI does that I immediately thought would be awesome to watch. So it would be a good crowd pleaser type thing for people to stop by and see. So my goal is to have 10 different challenge lifts, and you proceed through those lifts in the medley. So if you think about like World's Strongest Man, for example, sometimes they'll have medleys. Think of it that way, only it's grip strength. So far, some confirmed lifts, some confirmed challenges. Big thanks to Black Widow Training Gear. Like 2 hours ago, Dean just messaged me another implement that he's going to donate to this. So the first one is a globe grip dumbbell handle. So imagine a dumbbell handle that has like a baseball shaped globe in the middle of it, and you have to grasp that. The second one that he's providing is a 1-inch cliffhanger. So it's kind of a fingertip kind of deal that you hang on to and lift with a loading pin attached to it with weight. And then a blob trainer from Stronger Grip. Stronger Grip's been in the business for like 30 years. This is his first public appearance. He has a booth at Home Gym Con. First time that he's like, I mean, if you go check out Stronger Grip's Instagram, you're going to be shaking your head like, oh my gosh, I want to see some of these crazy like hammers and swords and stuff that this guy makes. But he also makes a blob trainer. And I have a whole episode of Home Gym History about the blob, but this blob trainer is really cool that he makes. So that's going to be one of the lifts. I'll probably mix in some classic historical lifts in there as challenges, like a hub lift of a deep dish plate that I'll bring and things like that. So they proceed through. You get a point for every successful challenge lift that you make out of the 10. That's how that's scored. Then the third event is going to be from one of our vendors, AbMat, and from Home Gym owner Eccles, the Saxon Grip. I wasn't sure what to do about the Saxon Grip. Like maybe I'd have competitors lift it for weight, but then Jed Johnson had a great idea. And I'm actually, thanks to Jed, going to flip this around. Saxon Grip is going to be last. So since I'm talking about it, I'll keep talking about it. It's going to be a hold for time. And then to make this kind of engaging to watch and have some head-to-head competition, I'm going to do waves of 3 to 4 competitors at a time. And AbMat was kind enough to give us enough Saxon Grips to do that. So it'll be a fixed weight, a dumbbell that it's attached to. And I haven't decided for sure yet, probably in the 50-pound range. And then in waves of about 4 competitors, they come up on the signal, they lift, and then see who can hold it the longest. The Saxon Grip, if you haven't seen it, I have a whole episode of Home Gym History about the history of it with AbMat and Eric Eccles, the inventor of it, coming on. But essentially, it's a pinch grip. It's a 3-inch wide pinch grip. It goes on kind of like a fat grip, and then instead of being round, it's square. And then the fourth competition is from Arm Assassin Strength Shop. It's a vertical bar lift, if you will. It's a vertical cannon, is the way they call it on their website. I don't have one yet, but Luke at Arm Assassin Strength Shop is going to provide one. It's similar to this. This is by another company, but essentially it's just a round 2-inch tube, hence the name cannon, and you grip it. So instead of like the Napalm Nightmare gripping horizontally, you're gripping vertically. And that one's one of the heavy hitters as much as you can lift. So it's the same setup as the Napalm Nightmare event where you have 4 attempts and it's rising bar, 6-inch lift to a crossbar. So that's the grip competition in a nutshell. I think it'll be cool to watch. I think it'll be really fun to participate in for the low cost of absolutely nothing. So
Hey,
if you buy a ticket to the expo, you're in. Like, fill out the form. Join us.
Rob, I want to ask you too before we go on to the awesome prize list here.
Yeah.
If you're just a regular Joe showing up, you find out at the desk you're there at 9 a.m. Like, what would be your suggestion to just like, I don't know, like someone who's never done grip strength, jump in and give it a whirl? I mean, What would you say to that?
I would say absolutely. You know, if you're dressed appropriately, why not? So unless you're in a three-piece suit, but even then it'd be pretty badass to see some person in a three-piece suit doing these lifts. So I take that back. I rescind that comment. However you're dressed, come on out. And I had just recently, I hosted King Kong location for King Kong of Grip Championship that's put on in the fall. It's an international grip contest that GSI sanctions. And when I hosted it, two of the people that came to my gym here in Pittsburgh had never done grip before. And I'm going to do the same thing that I did then for Home Gym Con Grip Strength Championships. Before every event, I'm just going to show the implement, and I'll walk through exactly the rules. Do this, don't do this. You know, this is how this goes. From a competitive side of things, what I would give the advice to do would be that I'll have all of these out first thing in the morning on Friday. And weigh-in begins at 9 o'clock, just like other competitions, powerlifting, whatever it might be, you have to do weigh-in. So I would say, you know, it takes you, 30 seconds to walk up to the scale and weigh in. Spend that hour just tinkering around with the implements. Don't go really heavy, but just kind of mess around with them, get a feel for them in terms of how to position your body and how to lift them. Some of them translate perfectly to like a deadlift technique. Other ones don't. Other ones, like the vertical cannon, you got to kind of get used to the way your shoulders are going to feel. So that would be my best advice. That hour before the competition starts, just mess around with the implements. They're going to be out there.
Cool.
So now, besides having fun and like getting the most out of your home gym con experience, being able to go home and be like, yeah, like I saw all this great equipment and now I'm a grip strength athlete. Look at all these prizes. I mean, money talks. Let's just start with the money. $2,500. I mean, I'm having an ethical dilemma whether I should compete or not, because I'm afraid if I actually win something, I don't know whether I should take the money or not. So, Jake, I need you to weigh in on that, because it's not strange. I mean, all these other guys that host competitions compete in them, so I don't know. I want to compete. I don't know what I'm going to do with that, but it's $2,500.
I think you should.
That's a lot of money. A ticket for the expo currently, correct me if I'm wrong, Jake, is $34 and change.
Correct. So, for one day, yeah.
For one day. So if you're just coming out Friday for, and you want to join the grip competition, or let's say you don't really care about home gym con and you're a grip strength athlete that's tuned into this, you're going to drop $34 to get in here, and then you have a chance to win a part, at least, of $2,500. That is significant. I'm not sure exactly. I need to talk through with some of my great grip strength mentors on how to divide it. I'm leaning towards something like I've seen at some other competitions where there are cash prizes for like, first place, second, third place, but then also prizes for body weight versus what you lifted. So like best overall lifter in terms of that. That way, if there's an extraordinary athlete that's like 160 pounds, I'm sorry, they're not going to lift as much as someone who is 300 pounds, but maybe they're still extraordinary when you actually do the math and you figure out what they're lifting compared to their body weight. So I think it'd be cool to get some cash prizes going to them too. Other prizes, I am working hard this past week, and I'm going to continue working to try to get some stuff to just go home with. So far, we've got those two implements being used in the medley from Black Widow Training Gear. Those aren't going to stay with me. Those are going to go home with some athletes. The Bear Post has donated some stuff to the competition, so that's cool. That is a rehabilitation tool. I haven't used it myself, but I like the look of it. Like my left shoulder is currently sore.
It's awesome. I've got one.
I would enjoy it. It hooks up to your rack, right?
Yeah.
It looks nice. And then, hey, you can always use another bar. So the Edge bar from Exponent Edge will be given away to one of the grip strength athletes. The Saxon grips I mentioned. And then the Blob Trainer, too. And the Blob Trainer, I mean, I was blown away whenever Stronger Grips said, yeah, I'll make one and you can give it away to one of the athletes, because that is not an easy thing to make. This is like a man welding this, like just a one-man show. And it's pretty nice piece of equipment going home. Now that's what's confirmed. I have several other ideas and things that I'm working on. I'll phrase it that way, that aren't confirmed yet, that
And
I can't
Rob,
speak of.
Yeah, and let me just add, like Rob mentioned, he's going to keep working to make this prize pack even larger. I'm going to keep begging vendors. I don't think it like I think it's in the realm of possibility to create like the most ever prizes for a grip strength competition.
That's my goal.
I think we can get there. I think we can get there. I'm dead serious. I
don't see why not. That's my goal. Actually, I mean that's not my preeminent goal. The first thing I thought whenever you asked me to do this was I want to broaden just the scope of grip strength competitions. And I think from my limited, I've only been in 4 competitions. Like, I am not the most experienced grip strength athlete, but I've thought to myself, like, how can you make this more fun to watch? Like, why do people like to watch strongman like competitions? And that's why, like, having a medley, having waves of 4 athletes at once, I'm going to try to, that was one of my goals, was I want to try to make this really fun to watch. Not that other competitions aren't fun to watch, but I want to make it so that, like, the person who has no clue what's going on happens to walk by and stop and say, like, what the heck is this? And, like, check it out. And then second goal is, along with that, to just get more people into it. So that's why I think it's great that it's free this year. This first year with GSI, we're keeping it free with paid admission. So why not? You know, you have all these prizes. You got a bunch of money that they're being thrown at the athletes. Jump in there.
Yep. And then just a few FYIs. Let me just run through these real quick.
Sure.
So as we talked about earlier, the entry to this competition is free. You just need a ticket. I'll plug in the registration form at the top of this episode, the first link in this episode, and then just since Rob's here, we'll throw in. You can use code Vintage to save 10% on your home Gen Con tickets. That also
just keeps getting better.
Gives Rob a little kickback, maybe buy you a drink or something with that ticket. We have here that the entry form must be completed prior to April 26, 2024, but we're flexible. If you're there that is the day of the event.
That's the day.
So yeah, we're flexible. And I will say, like, if we already have like 50 people signed up, we might have to say no.
Yeah.
So the sooner you sign up, the better. We'd appreciate that.
Totally.
Yeah, just in general, the more heads up you can give us, we appreciate it. Weigh-ins, like Rob mentioned, at 9 a.m. That morning of the competition. And then Rob's also kind of taken it to the next level with bringing some feats of strength events that people will be able to do after the event. So,
Sweet.
Yeah, Rob, if you want to run through those real quick.
Sure. So, I mean, me personally, if anyone follows me or watches my YouTube videos or listens to my podcast, you know that I'm into strength history. And that's why I love grip strength, because it has the most connections to strength history out of any strength pursuit, in my opinion. And one of those would be these, like, feats of strength that, like, just ridiculous stuff you're doing. Now, you could have feats of strength in anything. It could be a feat of strength in strongman or powerlifting or whatever. So these are grip feats of strength. So we're going to have to amend the title. I don't want any strongmen wandering over. Well, actually, they can wander in over to do the grip ones. So, but it's classic lifts that are not commonly done that a handful of people might be able to do. And my goal is to get prizes for these as well. That, if you come over and I have a York deep dish plate sitting there and you can lift it up and hold it longer than anyone else in that, I'm thinking a 1 hour block of time, by the way. And that 1 hour block of time, well, then you'll win a prize. Same thing with the Fat Man blob. That's the classic blob that Richard Soren first invented the notion of a blob with. So that's a half 100-pound round head dumbbell, roughly 50 to 53 pounds. You lift that sucker up to lockout and hold it. You might be the only one who does it. I can't do it. I'm only at like an 85, half 85 blob right now. And then Thomas Inch dumbbell, I mean, if you've ever seen those viral videos, I mean, just about every influencer type gym person from Juji Mufu to like anyone you can think of has like the unliftable dumbbell video. And I'm not making fun of it because I watch them. I like watching them because it's deceptive. It's a thick handle the size of a Coke can that on a 172-pound globe dumbbell. And there are a handful of people that I know of that lift them, and I'm training to lift it, but I certainly can't lift it yet. And Luke Raymond at Arm Assassin just dropped a message on Instagram saying he'll have a Thomas Inch replica there. He has another dumbbell replica there. He's been really supportive of everything, if you can't tell. So thank you to him, too. So those are just like a sampling. Saxon grip, I thought it'd be cool to set a world record. Eric Eccles is on board. He's going to start a leaderboard based on Home Gym Con. So this will be, I'm going to try to get a heavy adjustable dumbbell to use and then just add on. And whoever can lift the most is the official world record holder for the Saxon grip lift. So we'll see. The most I've personally ever done is 70 pounds on this, but I bet you there's some monster that's going to come in and lift like over 100 pounds. It'll be incredible.
Probably.
So even if you don't compete in the grip competition, you're more than welcome to just jump right into the Feet of Strength events or just try them. I mean, if you've always kind of wanted to see if you could lift a Thomas Inch or see if you could lift a blob or hub lift a deep dish plate, now's your time. Stop by. I'm thinking about an hour and a half to 2 hours after competition just to give the athletes a chance to rest. So I would guess that that'll probably be sometime in the afternoon. I'll iron out the details once we get closer, Jake.
Perfect.
Hey, man, I love that.
Cool.
You can have like the strongest booth out there with some of these vendor folks walking over. Maybe, I mean, we get a little sore neck versus Rogue. I mean,
yeah,
you never know.
Do it.
That's awesome.
I would love it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks, Rob. Great start. I think it's going to be really, really cool.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Rob has hopped off of the podcast. Adam and I are going to run through the rest of the episode. But like, seriously, Rob's killing it and jumped in right away. We appreciate Rob. And I think it is like I said earlier, it's one of those things that, you know, first year is already going to be pretty cool. But if we can build off it from year to year to year, a lot of potential working with Rob on this event. So, yeah. Anyways, let's move on. I'm going to talk about the Relentless Trainer from Torque. So I personally think this one is super cool. So this is kind of like a wall-mounted or rack-mounted ski erg. It doesn't have the body of the traditional skier. You can just put it up on your wall or at the top of the rack. The performance monitor tracks time, strokes per minute, watts, calories, distance, and more. So, I mean, I would want to test this out before I actually buy it to make sure it like feels similar to a ski erg. But this is definitely something I would personally replace my ski erg with and put it up on a wall so that I could store stuff underneath it. I like the look of these as well.
Next up, we have a new product release coming to you from Rogue. This one got a little chatter on social media. Rogue has released their rack-mounted Pulleys. It's got that Aries-like feel to it for their power racks. There are currently two options, the Rogue FM6 functional trainer and the Rogue FMHR functional trainer. Looks like their estimated launch date is in May. Jake, I know you've probably heard some of the chatter too. It's some of that about time, or some people are saying, yeah, no, man, it's too late. What's your take?
I mean, it's about time, but it's also better than not doing it at all.
Agreed.
I think there's a lot of people with Rogue racks waiting for this, and I think they will jump on it very fast. And then, I mean, it is very Aries-like, but it looks nice. I mean, a lot of other companies have done Aries-like products as well. So I don't know. I mean, I like that they did a plate-loaded option. and stack. It doesn't seem like it's like massively more pricey than the Aries. So I mean, I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, big props for like the other companies for doing it beforehand. And I mean, this is a little different than some of the other options out there. So I mean, yeah, like I said, better than never.
Yep.
Yep. All right. Dumbbell survey results. So kind of more of a specific theme this week. So the first question we asked was, what are you going with? What types of dumbbells are you going with for your current space and budget? So you could choose between a traditional dumbbell set, like a hex dumbbell set or urethane, loadable, adjustable, or I don't know. And it was pretty close between traditional dumbbell sets and adjustable dumbbells. So traditional dumbbells did win with 47% of the votes. Adjustable dumbbells, 43% of the votes. Loadable dumbbells, 9%, and only 1% did not know. I personally went with adjustable dumbbells. Sounds like Adam did too, based on what we're going to discuss later. But this one will also be as more adjustable dumbbells come out over time. It'll be cool to see if the adjustable dumbbell votes go up. Next up, this was a repeat question that we've asked in the past, but what's your dumbbell handle preference? And fully knurled received 82% of the votes. Ergonomic, which is kind of like the old style basic hex ones, that you find that are probably the most popular, or the ones you'll find most out in the wild, received about 9% of the votes. Rubber, a couple percent of the votes, and then not sure, 6% of the votes. So fully knurled. I don't know why some companies are still selling these ergonomic ones, but yeah, fully knurled is the way to go.
True. And we have some more dumbbell data for you. 89% choose dumbbells versus 11% choosing kettlebells if they could only have one. I have to say, if you could only have one, that I still feel like is too much for kettlebells. But do you think 11 is too much? Does that surprise you?
I think 9 out of 10 is pretty dominant.
It's dominant for sure. I was thinking high 90s. But yeah, a lot. 32% say they would buy dumbbells before a barbell when building a home gym. And that one seems kind of high to me too. I think most people would buy a barbell, but there you go. 3% express high interest in Havoc triads. If you think that's low, well then this will make up for it. 62% just don't know what they are. So there you go.
There you go. But yeah, I mean, with the kettlebells versus dumbbells, I think there's some people that probably love like just a basic kettlebell swing. Maybe they chose that because of that.
Functional athletes,
or they,
right?
Yeah, functional athletes. We asked the community in an Instagram post as well. I will say, most in the survey questions where we just have the numbers, where the hex dumbbells or the traditional dumbbell sets win is different than a lot of this opinion. So most of the people with opinions voted for adjustable dumbbells. Going off of the comments, I think the most popular one company mentioned was probably Ironmaster. Actually, Ironmaster, they're maybe not the fastest, but the ability that they can go heavy. They have like knurled handles. I think that was the big thing, and they're gonna last forever, as opposed to Dumbbells, which people might be a little weary of. So Ironmaster was pretty popular. A couple people mentioned the fully knurled hex dumbbells from Rep. So those Pep and Fast series was another one. And then let's see. Man Who Parks in Gym said, I'd have to get a bigger gym space in order to justify a different style of dumbbells. And to be honest, with the barbells / specialty bars, cables, and isolation machines that I currently own, I almost can't really even justify owning all of these dumbbells at all. And that's kind of what I agreed with. Like as like with more stuff coming out. So yeah, that's the community. Adam, what did you go with?
The dumbbells that I would go with, as you can see on the screen, if you're just listening, I'll go ahead and describe those for you. I have two options here. One is going to be less of a budget option. The other one would be if I was on a budget. So I went with the Pepin Fast series, and I specifically said the 80-pound set. One reason I really do like these dumbbells is because they can go up to 120 pounds, which for an adjustable dumbbell made of full steel, it has like a dumbbell feel when you're using them with the fully knurled handle. It is in a cage, but not quite the same as like a power block. These were at home Gym Con last year. Got to play around with them. They were awesome. That's what I would prefer to go with in this gym build that we're doing. But if I were on a budget, the Pepin loadables like Jake has in his gym, when I was down there last time, using those, yes, you have to take time adjusting your weights, so that can kind of get in the way of your workout a bit. But overall, they feel like a pro-style dumbbell. So I really like those, and they would do just fine. So those are my options.
Yeah, kind of like both are still kind of expensive, but they will last forever.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I had going in mind as well. Like just knowing that there's like a ton of cheap options with plastic that'll probably do the job for a few years. I went with a couple more robust or stronger options. And to be honest, in a perfect world, instead of having a full set of hex dumbbells, I would still love to have 2 sets of adjustable dumbbells in my setup. It's something that I really appreciate. One maybe specifically more for like quick speed. I think you could get away with something like even like a Bowflex for this, but for this, I think the quick draw adjustable dumbbells for rep, they go up to 60 pounds. It's a good like first option. And it'll be quick to use for like, times where you don't need to go as heavy. And then also in a perfect world, that second option, I'd probably go with the quick lock dumbbells from Ironmaster. You have the ability to, the setup might take a little bit more time, but you have the ability to go or add more weight over time. I think they go up to like, so yeah, having the ability to have one lightweight, just quick in and out, do curls, quick shoulder press, and then another one for like the rows and the benching for Ironmasters. I think if we're building a home gym one step at a time, I'd probably go with the adjustable dumbbells from Rep, just because they're like a third of the price. So it'd be an easier first step. But in a perfect world, as opposed to just buying like an expensive set of urethanes or 5 through 100 hex dumbbells, I'm going to add a second pair or a second type of adjustable dumbbells to ultimately save quite a bit of space. So that's my dumbbell choices.
2 sets of adjustables. That's a unique choice, Jake. I don't hate your logic. Makes sense.
I use it now, and it's because I have the luxury of having it. Sure. Actually have the luxury of it, and I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah.
It's something that you could even consider before. I think just like buying a couple of the basics doesn't hurt before going crazy with other specialty items. Like, we've talked about like we'd almost buy a second barbell before buying a cardio machine or this or that or that. So I think having sets of basics for when multiple people work out or supersets or, just trying to figure out a way to work out in an efficient manner is important.
That is it. Well, that's going to do it for us tonight. If you liked tonight's episode, then be sure to keep your eye out for new episode releases wherever you listen to podcasts. Stay involved on our social media sites by following Garage Gym Experiment and taking part in our Sunday surveys on Instagram so that you can be a part of the conversation. Like, follow, subscribe to the channel on YouTube, and get involved on our website for all your home gym content needs. And this is where I tell you to follow Home Gym Con. Home Gym Con coming to you April 26th, 27th in French Lick, Indiana. We want to see you there. And if you show up, hey, Friday morning, you're there, you got off work, you're already coming to play with some toys, sign up for the arm lifting competition. It's free with your ticket, and you have a chance to win some pretty awesome prizes. Or just come hang out with us. This is where I tell you, go to homegymcon.com or follow Home Gym Con on your socials. Jake, anything else left for the listeners?
Actually, just because you said it,
It's a big night.
Rob informed me that, so like, if you're listening earlier, you know that we had an arm lifting competition and then moved to Grip Sport International. So arm lifting it's the sport, it's the grip strength sport, or it's grip sport. It's not, so arm lifting is just what one of the sides calls it. So it's not an arm lifting competition.
What did I say?
It's a
We're
grip.
doing a grip competition.
You said if you want to do the arm lifting competition.
Okay, the grip competition. My fault.
Like, no, I made the mistake too. I just kind of assumed arm lifting, international term, but it's really only for Arm Lifting USA, I believe.
Good to know.
Yeah, good to know, huh?
You know, I have
learned it 2 days ago.
some grippers, but that's as far as. And I guess I have some fat grips, and that's as far as my grip really, training goes. So I'm very interested to see this thing go down. So
It should be cool. I do remember at the Arnold, just walking by and seeing the grip sport, and I was
looked like
that's cool.
There was like a 6-year-old man who looked like Popeye the Sailor Man with like the biggest forearms I've ever seen in my life. That was pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. That wraps it up for us, guys. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next week. See you later.